What would you do if you found yourself trapped in a prison of luxury? If the dream life you thought you wanted turned into your worst nightmare? Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking true crime stories to ever come out of Seattle, Washington. A story that forces us all to ask, how far would you go to escape a relationship that's slowly destroying you? Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly deep dives into fascinating true crime cases like this one. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Picture this, a respected nurse, a wealthy businessman, a whirlwind romance that seemed like a fairy tale, until it wasn't. This is the story of Lisa and Raymond Jenkins. A cautionary tale about how quickly dreams can turn to nightmares, and how desperate people can become when they see no way out. So, what happens when the man who promised you everything takes away your freedom instead? Let's find out. Lisa was just 28 years old in 2017, living a normal, modest life in Seattle, Washington. The daughter of two dedicated teachers, she had built a respectable career as a nurse at a local hospital, where her colleagues valued her compassion and dedication. She lived just a short 10-minute walk from the bustling center of what appeared to be a tranquil neighborhood. Her life was ordinary, comfortable, safe. But Lisa, like many of us, harbored dreams of something more, something better. Have you ever wanted more from life? Ever felt like you were meant for something greater? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Little did Lisa know that her pursuit of something better would lead her down a path from which there would be no return. Now, let me introduce you to Raymond Jenkins. At 58, Raymond was everything Lisa wasn't: wealthy, powerful, connected. He had built an impressive empire of luxury hotels spanning the entire West Coast. His net worth? Millions. His reputation in corporate circles? Demanding but fair. His relationship status? Divorced, with 2 adult children, but single for 5 years. But here's where things get interesting. Pause. What are the odds that these two people from completely different worlds would ever cross paths? What do you think brings people together? Is it fate? Coincidence? Or something darker? Something more calculated? The fateful meeting. In February 2017, Raymond Jenkins was admitted to the hospital following a cardiac event. And who was assigned to oversee his recovery? You guessed it, Lisa. As she monitored his condition, they began to talk. Simple conversations that quickly evolved into something deeper. Something that would change both their lives forever. Following his discharge, Lisa found herself captivated by Raymond. His confidence, his sophistication, the financial stability he represented. Despite their 20-year age difference, she felt drawn to him in ways she couldn't explain. Her friends noticed, and they were concerned. They warned her about the relationship's rapid pace. But have you ever been so caught up in something that you couldn't see the red flags waving right in front of your face? Lisa dismissed their concerns. She was convinced she had found true love. And Raymond? He seemed equally enchanted, showering her with extravagant gifts and constant attention. No one could have predicted that this relationship would culminate in a tragedy that would shock Seattle to its core. Through the spring of 2017, Raymond pursued Lisa with an intensity that left her breathless. Imagine this. Upscale restaurants where a single meal costs more than your weekly grocery budget. Jewelry that sparkles so brightly it seems unreal. Romantic weekend getaways to destinations you've only seen in magazines. For Lisa, it felt like she had been transported into a fairy tale. Rescued from her ordinary existence by a charismatic, worldly, wealthy prince. How many of us have dreamed of such a transformation? How many would have said no if offered the chance? Their relationship progressed at lightning speed. Within just 6 months of their first meeting, Raymond proposed during a private dinner atop one of his hotels, with Seattle's skyline glimmering below them. The diamond ring he presented was worth more than Lisa's entire annual salary. Her answer? Without hesitation, yes. But even as wedding plans began, there were moments, brief flashes, when Lisa felt uneasy. Small things that didn't quite add up. Comments that seemed innocent but carried an edge. She dismissed these feelings as pre-wedding jitters. After all, what bride doesn't get nervous before the big day? In retrospect, those weren't butterflies she was feeling. They were warnings. On a perfect summer day, Lisa and Raymond exchanged vows surrounded by over 300 guests. But here's the thing that should have given Lisa pause. Almost all of them were Raymond's business associates and contacts. Only a handful were Lisa's friends and family. I want you to imagine this scene. Lisa, resplendent in her designer gown, moving through the reception. To anyone watching, she appeared to be living a dream. But look closer. Notice the slight tension around her eyes? The way her smile doesn't quite reach them? As she navigated the crowd, Lisa experienced a growing sense of dread. Something was changing, and not for the better. Throughout the reception, Raymond dictated her interactions, frequently interrupting her conversations and requiring her constant presence by his side. When she managed brief moments with her own friends, he would summon her away, citing important business introductions that couldn't wait. Was this just the behavior of an excited groom? Or the first public display of something much more sinister? What do you think? Have you ever seen controlling behavior disguised as care or concern? Share your experiences in the comments. The first red flags, summer 2018. The newlyweds embarked on a 2-week honeymoon in the Maldives. Paradise, right? White sand beaches, crystal clear water, luxury accommodations. But paradise quickly became a preview of the prison Lisa was entering. Raymond imposed rigid daily schedules. He controlled what she ate. He selected her clothes. When Lisa expressed a simple desire to take a solitary walk on the beach, just to feel the sand between her toes and collect her thoughts, Raymond erupted in jealous accusations of ingratitude. Who was she meeting? Why did she need time away from him? Didn't she appreciate everything he was providing? Upon returning to Seattle in July 2018, Lisa's world underwent a complete transformation. Raymond insisted she resign from her hospital position. After all, he reasoned, their financial security eliminated any need for her employment. She agreed to relocate to his mansion in an exclusive neighborhood, hoping these challenges would prove temporary, that they would eventually find balance in their relationship. But ask yourself this: when someone starts by taking away your independence, what will they take next? By the end of 2018, Raymond's domineering nature had extended to every aspect of Lisa's existence. Her wardrobe, her daily schedule, even her social connections. One by one, Lisa's friendships dissolved, replaced by carefully curated relationships with Raymond's business associates and their spouses. At social gatherings, she functioned more as a decorative accompaniment than an active participant. Lisa's existence had become a lavishly appointed prison, with every movement scrutinized by her controlling husband. Raymond installed surveillance equipment throughout their residence, claiming they ensured her safety. But Lisa eventually recognized their true purpose: monitoring her activities, her every move, her every conversation, all under constant surveillance. Next came the isolation. Raymond compelled her to change her phone number and delete all social media profiles under the guise of privacy protection. Any disagreement triggered his emotional outbursts, during which he would accuse her of ingratitude and question her motives. Financial dependence served as another mechanism of control. Raymond allocated Lisa a modest allowance, requiring detailed accounting of every expenditure. Major purchases required both his approval and presence. "They don't belong in your life now," Raymond would say, dismissing her former friends as unworthy. Have you ever felt isolated? Cut off from the people who care about you? Now imagine that isolation enforced by someone who claims to love you. Early 2019. By early 2019, even Lisa's clothing had become a source of continuous conflict. Raymond limited her to attire meeting his specific preferences, stifling her self-expression. He severed her connections with family, particularly her mother, and monitored the infrequent communications she maintained. When Lisa attempted to seek employment or volunteer opportunities, Raymond vehemently opposed the idea. His wife, he insisted, should exemplify the perfect complement to a successful businessman. Her working would undermine his status. While their relationship lacked physical violence, the emotional manipulation continued to intensify. Raymond's psychological tactics followed a calculated pattern, alternating between excessive adoration and withholding affection, creating a destabilizing environment of uncertainty. By their first anniversary in June 2019, Lisa had become a shadow of her former self, singularly focused on appeasing her husband to avoid triggering his anger. Her dreams of familial happiness had deteriorated into the nightmare of life with a controlling partner. I want you to think about this. How does someone go from independent professional to prisoner in their own home in just 1 year? At what point does the slow erosion of freedom become unbearable? One morning in July 2019, Lisa confronted her reflection in the mirror, and failed to recognize the person gazing back. Where had she gone? What had happened to the confident, compassionate nurse who once saved lives? In that moment, she reached a painful realization: continuing this existence was impossible. This clarity marked the initial step toward a plan with ultimately tragic consequences. Initially, Lisa resisted accepting the apparent hopelessness of her situation. She attempted compromise. She tried emotional communication with Raymond. But these efforts only provoked further conflict and tighter restrictions. Raymond expertly wielded guilt, convincing Lisa that all their marital problems originated solely with her. That she was the problem. Desperately seeking escape, Lisa secretly contacted former friends and researched women's crisis centers. But terror prevented action. Raymond maintained connections with local law enforcement and authorities. She feared any attempted escape would result in him locating her and inflicting punishment. What would you do in Lisa's position? Where would you turn when every exit seems blocked? When you believe no one can help you? A desperate plan. September 2019. During a particularly volatile confrontation when Raymond discovered her unauthorized communication with her mother, he threatened complete isolation from the outside world. And in that moment, Lisa first contemplated murder. Her initial reaction was shock at her own thoughts. But with continued consideration, the idea transformed into a potential escape route. Convinced this represented her sole means of liberation, she meticulously planned each detail, recognizing she would have only one opportunity. Any mistake would cost her both freedom and life. Lisa utilized her medical knowledge to execute her strategy. Aware of Raymond's cardiac medication prescription following his heart attack, she knew an overdose could induce fatal cardiac arrest. She began gradually administering additional pills in his food and beverages while maintaining the facade of devoted wife, ensuring regular medical checkups to deflect post-mortem suspicion. It's easy to judge Lisa's actions from the safety of our own lives. But I want you to consider, what happens when a person believes all legitimate paths to freedom have been blocked? When they see only one terrible solution to their suffering. November 2019. Over the autumn months of 2019, Lisa carefully monitored and documented Raymond's declining health to avoid arousing suspicion. Though her anxiety increased daily, the prospect of returning to independence mitigated her moral qualms. She convinced herself this represented her only viable option. The plan's final phase unfolded on a cold November night. As Raymond sipped his evening tea in their expansive living room, Lisa added a lethal medication dose and sat beside him, feigning concern. When the poison took effect and he began choking, Lisa immediately summoned emergency services. Hospital records would later confirm acute heart failure as the official cause of death. Dressed in mourning attire, Lisa performed profound grief, weeping at his bedside and embodying the role of devastated widow. Internally, however, she experienced a conflicted mixture of relief and horror at her actions. Following Raymond's death, Lisa proceeded to eliminate evidence of her involvement, burning empty medication containers, dosage calculations, and incriminating notes in the mansion's fireplace. Was she free at last? Or had she merely exchanged one prison for another, the prison of guilt? December 2019. The morning after the funeral, Lisa continued her grieving widow performance. She arranged an elaborate service attended by Raymond's business associates, maintaining a constant vigil by his casket to demonstrate her devotion, all calculated to dispel potential suspicion. In subsequent weeks, she methodically constructed an alibi, interviewing Raymond's friends about his complaints of cardiac discomfort in the days preceding his death. She even consulted his physician, expressing wishes that she had advocated more forcefully for comprehensive examination. Lisa initiated inheritance proceedings for Raymond's estate, engaging experienced legal counsel. The extent of Raymond's fortune exceeded her expectations, encompassing not only his hotel enterprise but substantial real estate holdings and securities investments. She thought she had gotten away with it, that she was finally free. But freedom purchased with blood rarely comes without cost. Legal complications, January 2020. An unexpected complication soon emerged. Raymond's children from his previous marriage contested the will, arguing their father could not have been mentally sound when bequeathing his entire fortune to a much younger wife he had known briefly. The resulting protracted legal battle attracted media attention. And media attention attracted something else: suspicion. Detective Michael Rodriguez of the Seattle Homicide Division identified inconsistencies between witness testimony and medical records. He launched an unofficial investigation, interviewing hospital personnel and reviewing Raymond's medical history. He noted particularly that symptoms documented during the months before Raymond's death diverged from typical heart failure progression. The investigation, February 2020. Consumed by the inheritance dispute, Lisa failed to recognize the mounting police interest in her husband's death. Convinced her plan had succeeded without leaving evidence, she nonetheless experienced increasing paranoia and apprehension about discovery. Unexpected phone calls or visits triggered panic attacks. The tension culminated when Detective Rodriguez visited Lisa's residence under the pretext of gathering additional information. His interrogation was precise and penetrating, examining minute details of Raymond's final days. Though Lisa perceived the detective's suspicion, she maintained composure and adhered to her fabricated narrative. Following Rodriguez's departure, Lisa spiraled into anxiety, increasingly aware of her narrowing options. Desperate, she contemplated escape, gathering available funds, creating fraudulent documentation, and planning to flee the country once accessing Raymond's accounts. Fate intervened the night before her planned departure when police arrived with a warrant for Lisa Jenkins' arrest on first-degree murder charges. Detective Rodriguez had uncovered conclusive evidence of poisoning in Raymond's blood work that initial examinations had overlooked. Lisa was apprehended in her bedroom while hastily packing. Instead of prosperity, she faced inevitable justice. Her arrest became a media sensation, with local news outlets saturated with stories about the nurse who poisoned her wealthy husband. Headlines proclaimed Seattle's Black Widow and the marriage that ended in murder, captivating public attention. I wonder, at what point did Lisa realize there would be no escape? That she had traded one form of captivity for another? The investigation unfolds, spring 2020. As case details emerged, public shock intensified. At a press conference, Detective Rodriguez revealed that the breakthrough came from toxicology retesting, which detected lethal levels of medication in Raymond's bloodstream, far exceeding therapeutic dosage. This discovery prompted further investigation. Medical personnel reviewing records noted the unusual pattern of Raymond's decline. Hospital staff recalled Lisa's insistence on personally administering her husband's medication, claiming exclusive knowledge of proper dosing. Police searches of the Jenkins residence yielded damning evidence. Lisa's bedroom contained medication dosage notes and administration schedules, while the fireplace showed signs of document destruction. Interviews with Raymond's social circle revealed the troubled reality of the marriage. Witnesses described Lisa's erratic behavior, depression, and paranoia regarding Raymond, providing investigators with potential motivation. Lisa's apparent desire to escape her controlling husband and inherit his fortune emerged as the primary motives. She faced first-degree murder charges, potentially resulting in life imprisonment without parole under Washington state law. What do you think was Lisa's primary motivation? Was it freedom? Money? Or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Trial preparations, summer 2020. Jonathan Green, a prominent defense attorney representing Lisa, built his case around battered woman syndrome. He argued that Lisa acted from necessity, motivated by fear for her safety in a psychologically abusive relationship. The prosecution countered that the murder demonstrated clear premeditation, evidenced by the prolonged poisoning period and deliberate evidence destruction, proposing financial gain as motivation. The case ignited widespread public discourse regarding domestic abuse and the challenges facing victims attempting to leave toxic relationships. Women's advocacy groups rallied in Lisa's defense, while Raymond's supporters rejected characterizations of him as abusive, maintaining he had been a devoted husband and portraying Lisa as a calculating killer driven by greed. Lisa's circumstances transformed dramatically as she awaited trial in county detention. From mansion luxury, she transitioned to the rigid structure of incarceration. Though still under constant surveillance, the observers were now correctional officers rather than her husband. Raymond's children subsequently withdrew their inheritance challenge, believing Lisa's murder accusation would automatically disqualify her from inheritance. As legal proceedings advanced, Raymond's assets remained frozen, and Lisa's world continued contracting. The trial, September 2020. Lisa Jenkins' trial commenced 6 months after her arrest, drawing extensive media coverage. The courtroom overflowed with journalists, observers, and interested parties hoping to witness the dramatic proceedings. Assistant District Attorney Angelica White portrayed Lisa's actions as calculating and cold-blooded, motivated by her deteriorating relationship with Raymond and insatiable desire for wealth and improved circumstances. The prosecution outlined the poisoning timeline, arguing Lisa had skillfully manipulated those around her to project an image of devoted wife. Defense attorney Jonathan Green presented a starkly different narrative. He described years of psychological torment, supported by testimony from friends and neighbors who witnessed Lisa's deepening depression and Raymond's concerning behavior. A pivotal trial moment occurred when Lisa testified, detailing the constant control she endured and the fear that ultimately drove her actions. Her emotional testimony appeared to resonate with jurors, though prosecutors launched aggressive cross-examination, highlighting inconsistencies in her account, emphasizing her methodical planning, and questioning why, as a healthcare professional, she resorted to murder rather than seeking assistance. After 3 weeks of testimony, the jury retired to deliberate. The verdict, October 2020. After nearly 2 full days of deliberation, the jury reached their verdict. Lisa Jenkins was found guilty of second-degree murder. The jury acknowledged the mitigating circumstances while considering the crime's severity. Judge Marcus Gray sentenced Lisa to 25 years imprisonment with parole eligibility after 15 years, noting that the case highlighted domestic violence complexities and the need for improved victim protection. Public reaction to the verdict varied widely. Lisa's supporters argued the sentence was excessively harsh, claiming the system had failed an abuse victim. Others considered it lenient given the crime's premeditation. Lisa herself displayed minimal emotion at sentencing, appearing exhausted but faintly smiling, as though relieved by the resolution of prolonged uncertainty. The legacy. In her final statement before the court, Lisa expressed remorse and sought forgiveness from Raymond's family. While acknowledging her crime's gravity, she hoped her story would serve as warning to others trapped in unwanted relationships, encouraging them to seek help before reaching desperate measures. The Lisa Jenkins case became a catalyst for domestic violence discourse in Washington state, prompting legislative reforms and increased funding for crisis centers and mental health services. The story of Lisa and Raymond was subsequently examined in numerous academic studies, publications, and documentaries, generating ongoing debate about self-defense, culpability, and psychological abuse. For many, this case serves as a poignant reminder of how dreams for a better life can rapidly deteriorate through isolation and control. It emphasizes the importance of seeking legitimate assistance when facing difficulty, highlighting the tragic outcomes when individuals perceive no escape from untenable situations. What began as a fairy tale romance ended as a cautionary tale of psychological imprisonment, desperation, and ultimately murder, leaving 2 families devastated and a community forever changed. Lisa's story continues to resonate as a powerful warning about the dangers of coercive control and the desperate actions it can provoke when victims see no other way out. I want to ask you, what signs of controlling behavior would you recognize now that you might have missed before? How can we better support those trapped in psychologically abusive relationships? Thank you for joining me for this disturbing but important story. If you or someone you know is experiencing relationship abuse, please remember there are resources available. I've listed several in the description below. If you found this video informative, please give it a like, share it with others who might benefit from this cautionary tale, and subscribe for more in-depth true crime stories. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, not all prisons have bars.